Hello, my loves. Thank you for being here. I'm Ellie Frost, and we're talking about rapid healing from narcissistic abuse cycles, PTSD, CPTSD, any kind of trauma, healing our hearts, coming into our true abundant lives, our true creative power to create our life. That can sound far-fetched from where you are, but you were not put on this planet to just suffer in these cycles. So I'm going to give you everything I know about strategies, communication, how you can cope. But our job isn't to walk around the planet dealing with narcissists. Our job is to create beautiful lives. We've wasted so much of it unintentionally, been forced to, right, in these traps. They put you in traps. The biggest trap is emotional control, because people do not understand why people do not get out of these things, but it's because they put a spell on you. It's literally a spell. It is a spell. It's a psychic attack. It's complete emotional control. I mean, the terror and fear we feel when we leave them, the fear of the consequences, because of, the undercurrent with a narcissist. They're going to punish you. They're trying to make you indebted to them. You owe them nothing. You ask God what to do. Whatever they are making you feel guilty about or that you owe them, you ask God, because God doesn't want your life force energy with the devil, and he doesn't want your abundance going there. And that's also why it's hard to manifest while we're still in these connections, because God's not going to make you abundantly blessed if you're going to share it with the dark side. Right? So we break the spell, and I'm here to help you break the spell, really break the spell. The devil works in confusion. Yeah? What you're asking from the narcissist is very simple. It's not difficult to tell the truth, except they can't. That's why they can't apologize. They can't. You never get a heartfelt apology, a genuine one. If you did even an ounce of what the narcissist did to you, can you imagine how you would apologize? How deep it would be? You'd probably break down if you'd done something that awful to someone and you truly felt remorse. Their apologies are so cold because they are detached at a soul level. You're talking to an empty shell, something that's dead. They're dead. I can actually smell them now. My last spiritual awakening, my senses got really awakened, and I started throwing up, because you can control this, by the way. Like when my psychic gifts expanded, I managed to regulate them. You choose how much you receive. But in my last awakening, I've had a few now, and my senses were so enhanced. They smell like decay to me. God's making me into something that can detect these things much sooner, but I can feel them in the energy field in a heightened way. I mean, they are really gross. You're talking about cosmic sewage when you really get attuned. Like, not good for us. That aside, you've got to know, which you don't know right now, what's available to you. When you've been brainwashed, hypnotized under this spell, the biggest thing, one of the biggest things, it's all big, but is that you don't know what's available to you. Other people have better lives, but you don't think it's available to you. You feel obliged to stay in these situations because there's a lot of guilt and fear that comes from leaving them. I was extremely afraid. I can still, in my brain, my little girl in me will still feel like, whoa, well, actually not, that's not actually true, but we've been conditioned for a long time. It was true, where you're wondering what they will do next, because they keep you in that it would actually, you try and keep the peace, you keep the connection, because you think by talking to them or staying connected, right, that will somehow pacify them. That's an illusion. That if you talk to them, then they won't do something bad, and it will get worse if you don't. So you're trying to control and manage a dynamic which doesn't work. It just keeps you consenting, right? And it's all about consent. Look at the video on why going no contact is not enough. It's all built on consent. So if you in any way plug in energetically, you're now consenting to them in your field. This is the problem. You're not talking to a healthy ex that you can have a rational, reasonable conversation with. They live for control, manipulation, and force. Yeah? That's what they're trying to do, force a relationship so that they can get you back in your place. They want to put you in your place, which is their object, dehumanized, shelled out, their battery source. Yeah? We've got to break the spell. So there's no good that comes of it. You don't owe them anything. Yeah? And if you lose the fear, right? Apparently in the Bible it says 300, it doesn't matter what religion you are here, all scriptures come from a spiritual truth. There's common denominators in every religion. So let's all just join together here. Do not be afraid. They feed off your fear. Yeah? And the only reason you're afraid is because they've put you in a lie. And the lie is that you're not more powerful than them. The light transmutes all dark. God is so much stronger than the devil, but God can't act through you if you're in cahoots with the devil. You've got to break the ties. Right now, you might be co-parenting. Yeah. You might be working with some of them, that kind of stuff. So in that instance, do the stuff. I've got a lot of tools in here. Breaking psychic attack, how to talk to them. I did, I think yesterday, some communication tools. No details of your life, right? And no consent energetically. You'll feel when you get in your body more, you'll start feeling when they're siphoning you. No consent. No consent. Don't let your brain, as soon as you get more healed, right, don't let your brain go into the fear cycle, the consequences, what they're going to do. They live on fear. When your fear is fueling them, then they have more power. Like, a beautiful comment a lady made when she went to court with her ex was that she said, like, he had no power, he kind of shriveled. Whereas that is a very scary situation for a lot of people, especially when they're co-parenting, they're using children against you. They have no limits or boundaries in what they'll do, and they'll try and erode every limit and boundary you have. So no consent. You take your power back. You are a sovereign being. I'm a child of God. I'm a child of this universe. I call on my divinity. I call on my divinity. Now, you have to trust God with that. You have to trust God with that. God takes care of the devil in ways you can't imagine. Yeah, I know. You know, the work I'm here to do on the planet, I know the people around me that come against it. You're coming against something good on the planet. You don't think there's a consequence? There is in spiritual law, but not if I choose to hurt. God's been very strict with me in terms of that. Like, I had so much brainwashing, so many spells they put on me about what it meant to be a good person, a good daughter, blah, blah, blah. I had to see the absolute truth, which is that if my life force, abundance, joy, energy or any energy is used to fuel the demons, then we're not as spiritually protected as we would be if we come into ourselves. But faith requires faith. Yeah. Faith requires faith, which means faith doesn't exist where it's comfortable. Faith exists where, like, it doesn't look like it's possible. That's faith. Faith isn't, you can't have faith if it's predictable. Faith is where it's unpredictable and you're choosing something else. You will find your power in this, right? Step by step. I teach baby steps because we've got to deal with our spiritual body, our emotional body, and our physical body. So you've got to remember the end goal. I don't just want to teach you how to deal with narcissists. I want to teach you what connection looks like. I want to teach you what communication and healthy relationships look like. Now, one of the traps I was in, being someone who studied personal development for a long time, is for most people, for soul attached people, right, who still have empathy, compassion. Even if you're traumatized, you still have empathy and compassion. Loving is as natural as breathing to you, right? But if I change the way I am, it will often change the people around me. So a lot of personal development it talks about personal responsibility, taking responsibility for ourselves and the impact we have on other people. So if I change my energy around you, most people will change their energy towards me. I have to look how I am part of the energetic match. But with a narcissist, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because they're soul detached. So, for example, if I'm coming in very masculine energy to you, right? Do this, you're going to lean back in feminine most of the time. The strongest energy is always going to win. But if I'm in a more receptive mode, then you're going to take the lead. So we do influence each other's energy dynamics and behavior. And in healthy relationships, this is how you build beautiful connections and transmute energy and come together and see how you can. These tools don't work on a narcissist. So I'm trying to use all the personal development tools in the world, not dealing with it at a spiritual level and wondering why with these people, things, whatever, entities, it's the only place where I can't have an impact. Yeah? Because by changing me, they don't change. They're soul detached, working for consensually every day, knowing what they're doing, an entity of, not in these words maybe, but they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Entity of consciousness that has a particular sequence. It runs the same programs of destruction, only here to destroy you. Destroy you emotionally, physically, sexually, financially, in any way they can. And they enjoy it. And when you leave and they pretend they want resolution, or they come back in your life trying to guilt trip you, making you think you owe them something, you owe them nothing. What they've done behind the scenes to you, you know. What they've done behind the scenes to you is cost you so much. So whatever they think they've got on you, they've got nothing on you. They lie so much. And what we aren't taught is, because we don't keep score, it's not our nature, right, is the actual cost of what they've done to us, right? But that ends here. That actually can end here. So I want you to know what freedom, what connection feels like, what love feels like, what joy feels like. It's like, it's expression. It's like, I get to be more of me and you get to be more of you, and I love you and you love me. And it's like, we see the beauty in each other. We're not trying to nitpick and find fault. Freedom, when you break these cycles, it feels like the whole world changed. It's like the biggest weight comes off your shoulders. I had a beautiful life. I did have a hard childhood, but I built a beautiful life. So I knew what life could be. And then I moved to the States and I went through more narcissistic abuse cycles. I do think God was sometimes I was just up there going on and on and on. I do think I was being taught something, but at the same time, there's no purpose for it other than that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessary for our shadow work. I was given very clear guidance on what to tell people, like how to express it and what to know about it and what the truth was. And I was shown it over and over again that this is not necessary for your shadow work. You do not need to be in these situations and environments. It's got radically imbalanced on the planet. But when you leave and actually break these ties, my gosh, I tell you, the biggest thing you get back is you. You get yourself back. They stole you from you. Everything about you is wrong, right? Most of the time. Everything you've done to fix yourself, break your relationship with yourself, your values, your integrity. You get the truth back, which is that you can love and you can be loved, right? You get freedom because you're not under control. You're not under fear. You're not under manipulation. You're you. And you being you is like exciting. You get to choose who you are again. You get to dream again. You get to open your heart again. We're doing heart healing this week in Sovereign. You get it connected again to a future, because when you're in trauma, you can't imagine the future. You just got to get through the now. You get everything that was taken from you, which is your future. They don't just steal the now moment, they steal the future from you too. Because the future is created now. So if we break the spell now, we can start making, that's what I also teach myself, a life. We can start manifesting a life. But you can't think of the future when all you can do is get through now. It's all about getting through the day. You're in reaction, because they've disarmed your nervous system. Just come straight into your body. Look at my t-shirt today. You are here. This is now. Enjoy every moment. I'm reminding myself all the time. I know where I've been. I know what I've been through. I appreciate my life now, right? But I had to learn to appreciate. Gratitude is quite hard when you're in. I don't believe in forcing and faking gratitude. That can be quite hard. I know a lot of spiritual teachers will teach you about gratitude. It's a wonderful emotion, but I don't believe in forcing and faking anything. I believe in truth. I believe in coming, because I know what sets me free the most is when I'm true to myself, not when I'm trying to force myself to forgive when I'm not ready. Everything's a process. I can have an intention to do that, but if I'm not there, I'm not there. Ellie gets to be on it. You get to be on it. When I was really struggling, a lot of spiritual practices are about gratitude, and gratitude is a wonderful high vibration and will help you manifest a great life. But when you're not feeling grateful, sometimes it's better for you to go out in your car, or if you haven't got a car, I didn't for years, go to a field and scream your anger out, because you've got to look after you. You've got to connect with you first. Then it's not about being holier than thou in this. It's about being divine and human, both. Remember, for both. You're not trying to evolve past your humanity, and what we haven't done is connected to ourselves. We've been disconnected from self. Coming into sovereignty means I connect to self, which means I don't force in myself to be in an emotion that I'm not in, but I'm going to fully be there for where I am. And if I'm not grateful because I've had enough and I'm sad and it's hard, I'm going to honor that. I'm not going to stop pushing myself into gratitude, because gratitude, again, everything I teach is what these things are is a natural byproduct of when we come into self. So when I come into my authenticity, right, then I know what my values are. I know what my standards and boundaries are. And so I'm automatically loving myself because I'm trusting myself and I'm letting myself be myself. So it's easy to love myself there. I haven't got to work on self-love. I've got to work on connecting to me. Yeah, when I give myself what I truly want and need, which is sometimes to go out and scream in the field or whatever, then, right, once I've released all this stuff, then it's easy to feel grateful, because I've cleaned up the stuff that I'm not listening to, that's getting louder in my system, because my body wants to be heard. My inner child wants to be heard. I'm screaming inside. You can't skip a step here, right? This is the emotional work. So please share. It really matters to me. You don't have to share, but subscribe. Please subscribe. Please like. I think that does really help the message get out. I'm really serious about breaking this spell. Okay, my loves, lots of love. I'll speak to you soon.